a life upon the sea. For the worse and for the better, to live a life full of adventure. Living simply on our own, powered by the sea and sky, anchored down to be with friends, anchor up to say goodbye, traveling on the winds of change. We're gonna make it, you and I, enduring winds and stormy weather, to live a life full of adventure. Some days it's easy, other days it's tough, just finding our way and fixing all of our broken stuff. And we don't have many things, but we have enough to live this life together. A life full of adventure. Emily and Clark's adventure. When we met, we knew that we did things differently, but with no regrets, both living life authentically. So we packed up this antique boat to make a life upon the sea. For the worse and for the better, to live a life full of adventure. Living simply on our own, powered by the sea and sky, anchored down to be with friends, anchor up to say goodbye, traveling on the winds of change. We're gonna make it, you and I, enduring winds and stormy weather, to live a life full of adventure. Some days it's easy, other days it's tough, just finding our way and fixing all of our broken stuff. And we don't have many things, but we have enough to live this life together. A life full of adventure. Emily and Clark's adventure. Hi everybody, it's Emily
Good day, I'm Clark.
on Sailing Vessel Detectors, and we are coming to you live today using a new system of live streaming software, so we hope it all works well. Something cool about this particular type of software that we're using is that we can see your comments and answer them live. So we can say, hi Scott, and pop your comments up on the screen. So if you have questions for us or comments for us, feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll do our best to answer them during live stream today.
Also, I've got a fan on me. Tell me if this is too loud or it's not coming across well. It's going to either be fan or hot and confused Clark. It's a pretty hot day.
Unlike what it is for Project Trawler here. It's 34 degrees in Spokane. That sounds kind of nice right now. It's really, just like 2 weeks ago, it was like a switch went off, and it's really hot here in the Dominican Republic now. And we are looking forward to getting the boat back in order so that we can have our air conditioning back in that cabin.
I put the refrigeration back together today, and Emily said, "Can you do fans next?"
Next is the fans. We need the fans. And who else have we got? We've got somebody from Turkey. Hi, Tulga, if that's how you say your name. Very fresh face. People like your shaved beard. Very nice. And we got people coming in from Germany. Hello, Yoshi. From Munich. And we got Dave made one. He's tuned in a few times for England again. Seeing some solar panels that have plastic cover on them that after some time in the sun changes color. Is it time to get a new one?
If you mean plastic cover like in those flexible panels, yeah, they change color. And it does affect them, but less than you would think. I won't have those anymore. I only use glass ones now myself. But you got to do what you got to do. They still perform better than you would think for the amount of milkiness that they show.
Yeah, we had the one for a while.
I had a pair of them.
Yeah.
But they're flexible, yeah, but I didn't, I guess, really need them. I got them because I could put them under a mattress when I wasn't using them. But, they turn milky, and at least they cost twice as much. There was a period, and I don't know if it was a certain period where people were buying them or people just stopped buying them in the Bahamas, but people were putting them on their biminis, and biminis were starting on fire. Now, I never got to do a postmortem. I don't know if they just wired them wrong or they wore into something, but keep an eye on them at least.
Yeah, didn't Adventure Man Dan have a couple that lit on fire on his
it was 1 year, and it was like 5 different boats.
Yeah,
they were all reporting the same thing.
When you install electrics on top of fabric.
Yeah, but it could have been they all bought them the year before, and they were a bad batch. Because I haven't heard about any lately.
Yeah. So the ones that we have are glass. There's no plastic.
Yeah, ours are all glass. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everything that we have that has solar panel, that like the little yard lights and things like that with solar panels on them, they all get milky really fast.
Yeah,
they stop working.
But if they're made right, like I have some monocrystalline glass panel. I have one left. We lost one in the ocean that same day we lost the mainsail. But I lost. I still have it. It still functions, and it was made in the 90s. The other thing about it was like $650 for a 120 watt panel.
Much less efficient than the new ones we have.
Yeah, physical per size, it certainly is. But it functions almost as good as when I bought it.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Paul. Hey, Paul found us.
Good.
Hi, Paul. Link. Hopefully that was easy. I think we can get the link in advance now, so we can put it in the description when we launch the video.
Yeah.
So it should be easier to find.
I think this might all in all be easier. Emily found this actually for her game channel, so she could do interviews. And it looks like a better piece of software. So, she bought it, and we're using it.
Yeah. Who else we have
and
here?
Paul uses web TV, I believe, which isn't as easy to find things on as a computer.
Okay. Hi to Robert from Poland. Thank you for watching. We've got someone from St. Augustine. That's a great place to have a boat. And Kia Ora from Yanmar in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Mailbox money. Let's see what they say. Hello, guys. We've exchanged texts a couple times about some boats. We are now on our 1979 CS 544 on our first trip north from Florida for hurricane season. Very cool.
Uh-huh.
Very cool. Yeah, there's a lot of people starting to head north for hurricane season. Other people are starting to head south because if you don't know, if you have insurance on your boat, most insurance companies say that you can't be in a particular zone.
There's this one band where all the hurricanes go, and we're right in the middle of it, but we have mountains around us, so
yeah,
pretty good shape.
Yep. Let's see. It's hard to do this now because I can see all your comments live. Scott says, clean shaven seems PETA living on a boat. Just saying.
Pain in the ass.
Oh, pain in the ass living on a boat.
It is.
It is. But so is having really long hair.
She owns my yeah, right. Yeah, she owns my face. I don't get to see it in the mirror very much.
Yeah. No, it's nice.
I got some new razor blades. I use a safety razor, and I got some new razor blades. I think it came with a safety razor I bought.
Yeah.
I have like 100 years supply of razor blades because eBay. Anyway, we took those over to the other boat, and I tried to shave with them this
Terrible.
morning. Terrible, terrible,
They
terrible.
like
So
rip out.
there is a difference,
Yeah.
but it's not so bad if you have good razor and good blades.
Oh, somebody says our audio is out of sync, maybe.
Oh, I don't know what we could possibly
Why
do
is
to
out of
fix
sync?
that.
So it looks as if you were talking to someone else and we are eavesdropping. The audio is also breaking up. Oh, that's too bad.
Well, turn the fan off
Let's
for
try
the
turning
breaking
the
up.
fan off and see if that makes a
But
difference.
if there's a big delay, how many seconds? Please, someone comment. A half a second, 5 seconds.
How do they know?
Well, because they see my mouth. Here,
Oh, how
everybody,
big
I'm
is the
about to
second?
clap. How many seconds?
Let's see. Also, it's hard with internet because sometimes internet is great here, sometimes it's not so great.
Yeah.
Usually early in the day is better. If we did this at 7 p.m., there's no way it would probably be working. John Ross says, I love your channel. I would love to see some video of the towns that you visit. This is a very good point because we always are thinking boat for a boat channel. We have to take footage of our boat, but
Right,
we
right.
don't often take the camera out with us when we go
Well, now that we have that new
shopping.
all-around camera, we don't have to. We just carry it with us.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Next time we go to Puerto Plata, we'll have to do that because Puerto Plata's got a lot of stuff. I mean, you can get anything you want in Puerto Plata, and it's only a few hours away.
Yeah.
A couple hours away.
And we'd like to do, we've been talking to the head of tourism here in Luperon about doing a video, kind of like a welcome to Luperon video, to answer the questions about how do you get in the channel here? How do you check in? Because it's a little difficult for people, especially if your Spanish isn't great, if you come here. But we could do a video and show you around the town, where to get food and all those sorts of things. The clap is okay, seems to come and go, typical for browser-based apps, says Robert.
Okay.
So somebody else 2 seconds, somebody else says our audio is fine. So I'm sure it has a lot to do with our internet, but also has to do with your internet too. So it's probably exacerbated by the two. Let's see, what is it like in New England? The winds are gusting in the 30s and the temperature is in the low 50s. Oh, that sounds nice right now. That's so nice.
I like it warm.
Somebody's talking about, we got a first question about the AC. Robert Miller asks, how is the small AC unit coming?
Well, I tried to get the latest data from Russell, but he didn't return my call, so I didn't get it as of today, but I believe he sent them out on Tuesday. That was the plan. And more than a few people said, little short notes, I've got your AC unit. And a bunch of them all kind of said that about the same day. So I'm assuming he shipped them out on Tuesday. People actually have the box.
Yeah.
David and Kendra are really liking theirs. I kind of challenged him because his numbers are way too low, I thought. And he's an engineer. And he said, nope, this is how I did the test. And this is the test. They have turned it way down and they're finding it effective. It's not super hot here yet. So I'm expecting him to burn more power. And then I also got thinking about it. I guess I mentioned in the video, but I tend not to over-report things. I am not the fish story guy. In fact, I tend to be a little conservative. So maybe my numbers are actually higher than.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting.
And we took them in the height of summer.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to turn it, because we haven't had the AC on for a little while now with the renovations. So it'll be interesting to rev it up and see if
And I want to do a thing
and
where I take the water that's coming out, the slightly warm water, and measure the flow and temperature to actually calculate the BTUs and come up with a BTU to watt table for people. I mean, you guys deserve to have that. I'm just a poor engineer and I haven't done it.
Because it's going to be different if you're trying to get 20 degrees cooler versus, you know, 5 or 10 degrees
How many
cooler.
amps does it take to actually get 4,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 BTUs?
You want to talk about what we were talking about before the live stream?
Sure. Well, someone asked me earlier today on Patreon, what new projects? It turns out I got so many new projects. But as far as air conditioning goes, I've been asked by the manufacturer to design a thermostat. And he just wants one in Fahrenheit. But it's going to be really fancy if I do it. It's going to be computer controlled, of course, all the stuff I learned out of the BPMS. It's going to be able to actively change the speed of the compressor and the fans. So instead of cycling on and off, it'll just slow down. And theoretically, that should make it more efficient. And it won't be like this, I'm too cold, I'm too warm, I'm too cold cycle. So I think it'd make it a lot better. And it's going to be fun. So I kind of like doing that kind of electronics project. And then there is a desire to have these for campers set up so they don't need salt water. They just need air. And if we take this camper trip this summer, I'll definitely be building one because we're going to go to the south in the summer. So I would like to be able to sleep comfortably. So that's a work in progress. And then the final thing that we thought about just today is I think I can make a 10,000 BTU unit, and
With 2 compressors.
with doubling up some of the
Tandem.
existing parts, but the math's there. So we're thinking about air conditioning this space. So I'm breaking all the rules. Just do the bed, don't do the main space, but it would be, again, I keep saying this because I don't want people to live their life under air conditioning. But when we have dinner parties, when we have people come over in Panama, it would be really nice to be able to hit that, and everybody has a nice, cool place to have dinner and chat.
Yeah.
It'd be a treat for people that don't have AC.
Yeah, and I would have said 6 months ago we have no room for it, but now that we've moved everything out of this section of the cabin, and now we're selectively bringing things back in and probably getting rid of some more stuff. The longer you live on the boat, you accumulate stuff, but you get better at getting rid of things that you don't need. So I think there is some space, like right above the table that we're at right now.
We don't stand up in these places, so it can be on the ceiling or in a bookshelf. And finally, just to finish it all up, because it was in the letter I wrote, one other electronics project I've developed in my head, and there's no way it won't work. But we have this portable battery. We did a video on it a while ago. It's actually waterproof case, like a Pelton case, and it's for Emily's little dinghy. It's the battery for the electric motor. Well,
that was his excuse to build it anyway.
Yeah.
He uses it for lots of things.
Well, I learned a lot building that, and a lot of the BBMS came from what I learned.
It's been great when we've been living on a different boat that doesn't have the robust systems that Temptress has. We've had to use that to power our mega
we charge it
laptop for video editing and all kinds of stuff.
We charge it up over here, and then we take it over to Temptress to use the power. I think it needs to be brighter than that.
It keeps falling
You
out.
pulled it out.
Okay, there we go.
So anyway, this latest creation will be something that you can take this battery out and you can use it any way you want, and then you bring it back and just hook it up. And there'll be 2 wires to hook it to, and they're dead until you hook it up. And then the computer wakes up and does everything. And it first charges that battery up to the state of the rest of the batteries and then joins them all together. So if you don't use it remotely for a few days, instead of, in our case, having 200 amp hours of lithium, we suddenly have 250 amp hours of lithium in the ship's thing, and you can pull it out anytime you want. So I think that'll be really handy to have this like semi-portable thing. How I usually say it is, if you bought a Torpedo, not only do you spend thousands of dollars on something that should cost hundreds of dollars, but it's totally a parasite on your system. You just charge it and then it sits there until you use it. Where this thing, once you charge it, it helps out the yacht's battery. It's running the air conditioner all night and the refrigeration during the day and things.
Yep.
Okay. Enough.
It's much nicer than the Blue Eddy thing that we had, where it just sucks off your batteries and you take it where you want it to go, and it just sits there taking up room otherwise. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Abdullah is buying us a coffee because they enjoy our channel. If you have a good opinion on staying insured in hurricane season to extend cruising, let me know. With an asterisk. Oops, sorry, I should pop this up because I have this fancy technology. And just flying out if the weather goes bad. So, I mean, you don't have to get out of a hurricane zone unless you're really insured and it's mandated.
Yeah.
We've never, I mean, I guess we sort of were worried about it, but not really. We were prepared to hurricane.
Well, I'm very worried about it, and I wouldn't be any place I can't run for cover if I was in hurricane season.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, we were prepared to hurricane in the Bahamas, but we had scouted out where is the right place to be.
Yeah, there are hidey holes, and we had a really good one reserved for us. We had a mooring there. And then there's places like the islands of Honduras. That's like right central, but as long as you've got it all mapped out ahead of time, you can slip up the Rio Dulce. And if you go up the Rio Dulce, it's a river in Guatemala. As soon as you go 100 yards up there, there's like 300-foot cliffs on either side of you. You could just stop right there. And if you go further up, you're in the full jungle. So, and that's like a day's sail away from the Bay Islands.
Yeah.
So there are, with modern weather forecasting, you can be almost anywhere as long as you think ahead.
Yeah. However,
but your insurance company won't let you.
Right. And if you Google what's the best place to go for hurricane season, you'll get some marinas and commercial places that a bunch of other people are flying to. So it's kind of like everything else in sailing is you're responsible for yourself and being aware of your surroundings and doing your own.
I've never really done the insurance thing. I just take my own risk, and I buy big anchors.
Yep. Tulga asks 1 second delay tops. Okay, that's good. Emily, are you planning any gaming related content, like a gaming guide for cruisers? You know, I haven't really overlapped any of the YouTube stuff with the gaming stuff yet. I'm trying to keep them very separate. We do I have been contemplating a lot. We have a lot of board games aboard. We like to play board games, modern board games, and I've thought about doing a video about how I store them, because storing anything in a cardboard box at sea is ridiculous because it just melts.
She has a pile of plastic cases about this volume.
Yeah, like a cubic foot.
Yeah.
3 of them next to each other.
How many games do you
probably have like 40 games in there.
Yeah, and these are like big $50 games that come in big boxes and everything, but they've all been moved around. They all have their own little box, and then there's a bigger box with all the boards in it. So you just pull out the right board. It works really well.
It does. It was like our bookshelf. Maybe I can turn to show you. I know it looks terrible right now, but if you look at our bookshelf, those are our roller gates. But that's all the bookshelf room we have, and we have books that we have to bring too. So if we brought board games in regular containers, we could fit maybe 10 board games. So repackaging them has allowed us to bring a lot more of them. But yeah, I haven't really thought about doing content. The small furry game stuff is the small furry game stuff, and Emily Clark's adventure stuff is Emily Clark's adventure stuff. But we'll see. Let's see. Looking trim there, Clark, says K1. Let's see. Somebody asked about your new thermostat. Would it be compatible with the current unit?
Yes, it will. I wouldn't. Yeah, it's going to be plug-in compatible with the existing unit.
So it'd be like an option. Do you want Fahrenheit or Celsius? Do you want the fancy one or the basic one?
Right. In fact, I don't imagine it's not going to be super cheap. I mean, like you can buy the thermostat for like $35. So this probably, I don't know what it's going to end up costing, but I mean, the boards themselves cost so much now with the chip shortages and everything. It's definitely going to be north of $100. So there will always be both options, but also if you have a unit you bought last Tuesday, it'll drop right in there and you'll be able to hook it up. I will make sure of that. That's going to be my design criteria. Just like my design criteria, the BBMS, is that it can fit on any boat that has a good lead system. I don't want to be Victron where you have to buy all of my stuff. I want to go the other way.
Yep. Eddie Lammers from Winter Park. Hey, my old stomping grounds. Ask, I'm not sure I understand. Are AC compressors inverters?
No, they're not. They are brushless DC motors. It's all done as well as it possibly can be done. There is a step-up converter, a DC to DC converter if you have a 12-volt system to bring it up to 24. But there's no inverters. There's no induction motors. There's none of that stuff. That was the height of technology in like 1970. Yeah.
Cool. Lights.
Wait, but if you mean like inverters, like mini splits are inverter, it will, with the new thermostat, will have all those features, but it's not done with inverters.
Dave in England asks about lights. Are your nav lights LED or bulb?
They're LED. In fact, I had by 5-6 years the first LED nav lights. I built them myself, some of them, and then I found a company that was making them. And it was really great because I could go out to the anchorage and look around, and everybody's anchor light would be slightly yellow and mine would be like this blue-white, and I could find temptress before we did all this colored lights to find your boat. And then one year I went out cruising and I looked around and I couldn't find my boat because everybody had LED lights all of a sudden. But yes, we use LED lights. They just save so much, and I trust them more.
Cool. Dula says, KK, this is about the hurricane. It makes a lot of sense. Wife wants to do the Vic Maui, and we kind of want to spend a lot of time in Fiji. I believe they have some hurricane home marinas. So yeah, thanks. Okay, great. We got love from Sailing Tortuga. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jeff loves our channel. Thank you, Jeff. He just made a $10 donation. That's very nice. We always forget that that's even a possibility here. Thank you to everybody, and thank you to everybody on our Patreon page too. It's nice. Like, it's not something that we really counted on when we started a YouTube channel, but it is really nice to hear back from people and to hear stories. And
yeah, and we put in that $50 level, and felt kind of weird about it, but it seemed valid to be able to answer a question. I enjoy so much. I love solving boat problems, especially when I get to sit on a nice couch under a fan and just tell someone what to do. But I just we have, I don't know, 8 or 10 people that do it at that level, but we just know them so well.
Yeah, it's been really interesting being in Luperon, and I guess this happened a little bit in Georgetown, but because of all the lockdown, not as much. But people pass through Luperon a lot on their way, one way or the other, and very often people we're walking down the street and people say, "Hey, you're Emily Clark." You know, some story about something that they fixed because they watched your video, or something that their wife was concerned about that they are no longer concerned about. Or
what was that quote? I thought it was so funny. You terrify my wife because you make me think I can do things that I shouldn't do.
Somebody asked, where do we get the lights?
Which lights are we talking about?
Probably the same, the nav station lights.
Nav station?
Or the navigation lights?
Oh.
Sorry, I'm reading.
eBay.
eBay. We get a lot of stuff from eBay.
They're just light bulbs. So you just put light bulbs in the fixtures, or you get, Defender has good prices on stuff for light boat stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything that's in our Amazon store. Stuff like that is pretty.
Yeah, I don't think so, but it's an LED light.
We don't have much brand loyalty at all when it comes to
we have this Amazon store, and by all means use it, because we get a kickback and everything. But that's not our motivation. It's if I mention something and then people start asking me about it over and over again, it's easier for me to say it's in the Amazon store. But if you find a better price on eBay, go to eBay.
Yeah,
I believe I buy on eBay way more than Amazon.
Very much so. Eddie Lammers says, thanks for the answer. That explains the speed control of compressor. I'm a licensed HVAC plumbing electrical contractor.
Cool. Yeah, it's just your basic 3-phase DC motor deal that just changes its speed. It's frequency.
And Oliver says, Technote brushless DC motors have switching circuitry basically identical to an inverter to make 3-phase AC from the DC.
Okay.
Cool. There's Lisa. Lisa and Jack. What does Lisa say? Hi guys, have you done or can you do a video on stray current?
They're having a little problem with their underwater bronze. I haven't thought about it in so long. We don't plug in, but let's see. We can think about it. I can think about it. I don't know if I'm particularly qualified. I haven't really played an AC that much on a boat. I know that one thing you can do is make a half cell, which is basically getting a piece of some specific pure metal, shoving it into the water and hooking it to a multimeter, and then you're kind of making a battery, and you can see if weird things is happening that way. But that's not much of an answer for you. I'd have to think about it a lot because it's just not my thing, and I got a lot on my plate right now.
Yeah.
But there's lots of this information out there. Someone else can help you for sure.
Yeah, maybe one of our patrons or one of our viewers, like this other guy who's got an expertise. You ever think about taking the boat north for the summer? We thought about doing the Chesapeake.
Yeah.
Or the East Coast, I guess I would say, and going to the Chesapeake. That was kind of we had an either or situation when we were in the Bahamas during COVID. We were going to try and push here to Luperon because we had some friends who had been here before, and we knew that it was inexpensive and there wasn't a big problem with people making you leave very quickly. There wasn't like a set amount of time, like you could only stay for 3 months at a time.
And moving within the states at the time was very restricted.
Yeah. But if we hadn't come here, we probably would have gone back to the States. We have some friends that are heading that way. Actually, I have a couple friends. I have another friend on Facebook who's planning a trip to go all the way up to Maine this summer. I think it would be a great thing to do, but we could always do that some other time too.
Sure.
We're going to try and go out as far as we can, and then we can always come back.
Yeah.
Let's see. Eddie, more about the AC. Compressor speed control provides for humidity control.
Well, as long as you're cooling to below the dew point, you're doing humidity control. I don't know that the speed control is tied to that so much. Speed is kind of how many molecules you're moving per minute, So it's kind of a BTU number the way I look at it anyway. But, I might be wrong. I just made it work.
And I have no opinion on such, so I have no idea. Chris asks, probably because you're coughing still, how's your health doing? Hope you're well.
It's getting better. I got a head cold, and since COVID, I've always had this chronic bronchitis thing. Whenever I get sick, I cough forever. And then COVID really did some damage to me. So just a little head cold, and I'm still coughing from that. But it's getting better. I'm no longer medicated. I was getting pretty stupid there with cough suppressants. they do affect your brain.
You have been kind of off and on. There are bad days when you're coughing a lot, and then there are other days, but it also seems to be tied to just physical exhaustion and work.
How much I talk, how much I come by temptress, especially when there was teak dust in the
air.
air.
Yeah, we were standing a lot, and that was bothering you. Yeah, very cool. I think we're caught up on questions. Oh, here we are. We still planning on going south once the RV trek is complete?
Yes.
Oh yeah, we're coming back to the boat. Somebody asked us the other day, "Are you fixing up your boat because you're going to sell it?" No, we're not doing all this work for somebody
Honestly,
else.
we're fixing up the boat because cheap labor. The idea of scraping it all down, I didn't do it last time. I just sanded it up and re-shined it. But to take it all down to wood, it's the fact that I can be helping a man out that needs the money for his family. I know him well, and he works for an amount that I wouldn't even think of working for. So I'm so happy that he's willing to work for me and do this work, and I get all this wonder done. And
and we knew that we were going to be here. We were thinking we were going to be here for a while, and being on a mooring here in a hurricane hole is like practically being hauled out. It's so calm. I mean, every once in a while, somebody from the inside point of view.
Oh yes, I see what you mean.
So if somebody goes by in a dinghy, we kind of like whoosh. That's the worst that'll happen. And even where we are, we're kind of tucked. Like the wind is coming from here, and we're kind of like off in this armpit of the bay.
If you were in the Exumas or something, you couldn't think about this, because when a front comes through, you have to run to a different anchorage.
Right, you have to pack everything up.
You
make
can't
sure
have
nothing's
paint
gonna
out
fall.
and stuff.
Here
we
it's just like being on land almost. So it's really an amazing place to work. And the fact that we've got this other boat that we can stay on, we just hop in the dinghy over there, hop in the dinghy.
Yeah, if you've got an old boat and you're thinking about polishing her up and fixing her up, fix her up, make her safe. Don't even, short on that. But geez, buy all the varnish and paint you want and stuff. And it wouldn't be crazy to come here and spend a hurricane summer here and get some help here and just do it up here. And if you wanted to get off the boat, I think we mentioned it. Yeah, we did in the other one.
Yeah,
repeating myself, but you can rent cheap.
What if you can do the work in 50 degrees by yourself? That's always nice too.
Sure.
Better than doing it 89 degrees here. But back to Rick's question. Yes, our plans are still after Luperon to go south.
Yep.
Probably Jamaica and then down to
Jamaica, Providencia, Boca de Toro, Panama, and then out to the San Blas, and then Colombia. I haven't been to Colombia yet. It was dodgy when I was last there in the region. So. Very much looking, and I plan to spend a while down there. I like it down there.
Yeah, very much so. I'm curious, people who are out there who are viewing who have boats, you've kind of chimed in where you are, but what are your plans? Where are you going? Do we have anybody else who's heading toward this direction in the Caribbean, or are you planning to cross oceans? What are you planning to do with your boat? Let us know in the comments. It'd be interesting to know. Let's see. What does Tulga say? I don't know if you've realized how much you've improved the lives of people on the other side of the world with your fire video, but I want to say many thanks for that. Thank you for sharing and showing how. It's been a while since we've gotten feedback on that video because it was so long ago, but it does seem to have a big impact on people.
Well, thank you very much. I did the fire thing before it was a word, and I knew that I would have given anything to hear some old gray-haired guy that had done it in his 30s and how it turned out. So I figured I would tell the story. In fact, I didn't know what fire was, and just before
we had to look it up for what the keyword should be in the description.
And then I look around and I'm seeing all these 30-year-olds that are doing it, but maybe they're living in mom's basement. I don't know what they're really doing.
Or they're going to keep doing it, or they have to go back to work in 10 years.
So anyway, I just thought that would be a service that I would have liked. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Plans to sail to Europe?
Probably not.
Probably not.
It's a long way. It's cold over there.
Yeah,
and
you've been to Europe.
I've been to Europe. I used to be married to a Belgian woman, so I've been to Europe a lot on planes and such.
Yep.
Also, there's this whole taxation thing you guys are really into over there. It's a lot cheaper in this part of the world.
I spent a little bit of time in Europe too, but we've talked about also after we're done. There's a lot of places in the world we would like to go. We don't have to go to all of them by sailboat. Like this RV trip, like you can't go see Zion National Park in a sailboat or wherever you want to go.
Yeah, I want to spend some time in Asia, but I don't really want to take temptress.
Exactly. So trying to figure out what is the best way to go the places you want to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Why spend 6 months sailing someplace if we could hop on a plane and go there and enjoy our
I've never really done plane tourism before. It's always been the boat, but it is practical.
Rick B says, sounds like DR would be a great place to start my flipping business. Actually, I could flip boats pretty. Yeah, it'd be a good place. There's quite a few boats for sale here in Luperon, and it's easy to get crew to hop on and deliver back and forth to Luperon. But your grand idea is buy boats from
I know
people who die, old guys who die in Florida and out here. And
except the boats in Florida all got real expensive after
boats
COVID. Everybody wants to be able to run away, and that's a good way to do it. The boats out here, I don't think got expensive yet.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of derelict boats out here too.
I mean, lots isn't like the state of Florida. Lots.
No.
But Brock bought that Valiant for nothing.
Yeah, well, that was a special situation too. But yeah, there's a lot of people, because the Dominican Republic is a very inexpensive place to live, and the weather's nice, and you've got mountains, and it's a big island. It's not like living in the Bahamas where it's rocks and sand and conch, and that's what you got. Here you've got mountains. You can go up high in the mountains in the summertime and get great weather. You can go to the beaches. You can explore more of a jungly area.
And if you are that old man, they have good medicine here.
They have good medicine here. Yes, exactly. So there's quite a few people who sail into Luperon thinking they're going to be here for 2 weeks, and 10 years later they're here and they've bought a house and they have a boat, but it's just kind of sitting in the bay waiting for somebody to ask them if it's for sale. So anyway, yes, here would be a good place, I think, to turn around some boats if you wanted to. In your lithium battery research, how would you recommend storing on the hard? I want to have some power for internet connection and such. Will be gone for about 5 months. Lithium house, AGM start battery. From Doug. Hey, Doug.
Okay. Hey, Doug. Don't charge them all the time. If you're not going to take them down, just let them go down. I mean, if you're talking about the whole house battery and your only load is going to be like cell phones and things, they could probably go, the whole off season without needing to be charged. But I wouldn't top them up all the time. In fact, I put that feature into the Bank Manager Plus. You've got 2 voltages you control it with, but in short, until the voltage and you can adjust these, until it goes below a certain voltage, it won't mark it as a candidate for charge. And then and that boils down to it won't take it above a certain voltage. So you could buy a Bank Manager Plus that would just take care of it for you, but just probably before you get to like 20% charge them by then.
So monitor them.
Yeah.
But if they're going to be gone for 5 months, do you have to do anything before they leave?
If you're just using these milliamp type devices, I mean, do the math and how big your bank is and all that, but you probably wouldn't even need to be charged.
On a health,
the thing that kills them is overcharging, and that's the thing. The Bank Manager Plus does all this great stuff. It makes it easy and wonderful, but I've learned that's why it's called a plus. There is a Bank Manager that I've developed, and I'm not going to sell them because the difference is it doesn't have that one extra feature that won't overcharge the lithium. And if you overcharge lithium, even at low voltages, you really shorten their life. And that's what I'm trying to get you to avoid.
Speaking of electronic stuff, looking forward to the wiring fault finding video. How's the planning going? Yes. But a big part of why we've been delayed with videos is this table that we're sitting at right now. We've had no table to just sit and do technical videos or even just lay out a pad of paper. We're just basically living on a couch.
Yeah, it's like camping on the other boats, so I just haven't been able to possibly do anything like that. Also, without the upholstery, and the place sounded like we were in a subway station.
On a health note, Chris, I think, watch Clean Out Your Liver and Reduce Insulin Resistance by Dr. Eric Berg. But summary, 1 cruciferous vegetables, cabbage, celery, garlic, turmeric, beets, all these good vegetables, and extra virgin olive oil. We have been trying
if your olive oil really is olive oil,
it's
so hard to know what you're getting nowadays.
We have been trying to switch to just butter and not all the hydrogenated stuff. Yeah. And I think the gluten-free seems to be helping.
Boy, the gluten-free is really working for me. Yeah. And I'm getting to not miss it. Yeah. Starting to really enjoy oats.
Yeah, we're starting to cook more in corn tortillas and things like that. Let's see. I've noticed some sailboats in Croatia are much cheaper than they are on the East Coast. Any idea why that is? Is it feasible to buy one there and bring it across for a $50,000 to $100,000 profit?
It's all about your joy and your time if you wanted to do it. People forever have been using boats as ways to move marketable items, including the boat. My wind generator blades are made out of a collection of silver bolly, a very interesting tropical hardwood that I have in Florida. But that got there, I strapped it to Temptress's deck and sailed it there from Grenada. I brought it as deck cargo.
Mhm.
So yeah, I tell people all the time that it's not so much now because the price of boats has gone up so much in Florida. But my little saying is, I'll share with everybody, is old men move to Florida with boats and die. There's usually a lot of boats. And if you could buy a boat and then you load it up with what it needs to be fixed up to be pretty to sell and take it to the Bahamas, spend the season in the Bahamas working on the boat kind of as your job, but enjoying the Bahamas, then sail it up to New England where boats are usually more valuable. You could flip boats and do that cycle. So why not Croatia? You just got to look into it. I don't know.
True, but there are a lot of people who buy boats in other places and then hire the crew to get them where they need to go. That happens a lot. So, and you have to think of marinas and storage costs too, because if you're going to get a boat over without a buyer, then you're going to have to store that boat. So, I mean, if you enjoy living on boats and you enjoy crewing on boats and checking out other boats, that might be a fun place to do it as you're enjoying that adventure of spending your time on the water. But if you just want to bam, buy a boat, sell a boat, buying and selling boats isn't as quick and easy as it often takes.
If you were delivering a boat, it could be like, man, I would need $20,000 to do that trip, so I have to make that much. Or you could say, I'd pay $20,000 to do that trip.
Yeah. So now, if you were living in Croatia and you could find a good boat inspector or surveyor and do video chats and sell the boats and then hook up with somebody who's really good at deliveries and arrange for deliveries, maybe that's a better model. I don't know. Just ideas. Thank you, Trawler. What's that? MV Intrigue Trawler DIY. Thank you. They left a note. Thanks, guys. Show the comment. Thanks, guys. I've learned several great things from your channel. I love the detailed DIY stuff. Tell us what your favorite video was. I'm always curious because sometimes the answers surprise us. What have you found helpful? And not just MV Intrigue, but anybody else who's watching. What are the DIY videos that you've enjoyed or that have taught you things that you've actually used hands-on in your boat? Kate Johnson wants to know, are you ticklish? If so, where? Don't touch me.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Smaller.
He's not ticklish at all. Unless sometimes I rub your feet, then he gets a little bit ticklish.
Okay.
But he'll just say, that's a little ticklish. Whereas I'll hit him in the face. I don't like being tickled. Let's see. Any other questions that we missed? Let me just go through again. Questions.
Oh, I have water here.
We do have water there. And we just hooked up our toilet today. So that's a new, and we've got the fridge running here. So we're very close to moving back aboard Temptress.
Yep.
We're very close. Let's see. We got about 15 minutes left in the hour. If anybody else has other questions, otherwise we could do a little tour of our really, really messy boat right now.
Sure.
So leave your questions or tell us if you want us to show you around. We'll pick you up and show you around what we're working on, and you can see how we really look. The boat tour video, we'll be doing a new boat tour video, I think. After we finish the renovations and get all our cover doors on and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we did a boat tour video. It was one of the first videos we ever did that got more than like 10 views. And we've changed Temptress so much since. We have done the solar deal, and of course we've done the interior. But the sound on that video is so bad, just embarrassing. So I've been wanting to do another one.
Very old. Mm-hmm.
I think we can't repeat ourselves, but we repeated the laundry video because we just did it better.
That's true.
And I think it's time to redo the
we have this new, it's like a selfie stick, and it's got a 360-degree camera on it. We were playing with it the other day, so we could just like literally put it here, and you could put your finger around and scan all around our boat if you were interested. That's kind of an interesting thing to be able to do.
When it's on YouTube, you take it works with the cell phone best. You just look at it with your cell phone, and if you turn your cell phone, you'll actually be looking through like you can look around behind what you were looking at the other way.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Although that means we can't, because the last boat tour we did, to be perfectly honest with you, we took all the crap from the forward cabin and we threw it out here, and then we shot the forward cabin scene, and then we threw all the crap back into the forward cabin and we shot the nice salute scene, and then we threw all this stuff out of our bedroom, and we
have more junk than we have space for.
Yeah, very cool. Doug says, learned a lot from the starter motor rebuild. Did it myself afterward. Oh, that's great.
And if you have a Yanmar, learn to do that because it's a really good motor and a really bad starter, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I always know when a video is good because I'll shoot him teaching the video and I'll have no idea what he's talking about and I'll be filming it. This is so boring. I have no idea what he's talking about. And then after I watch it about 40 times and edit it down so other people can understand it, then I understand it. I'm like, oh, okay, I understand it now. And sometimes we argue about that. I'm like, we really need a diagram here to show them what they're talking about. Oh, no, it's too it's simple. They don't know what they're talking about. But I figure if I can understand that, then other people can understand it too. Okay. Robert says, boat tour, please. Okay, we'll have to do a boat tour, please.
Oh, okay.
So we will have to do a quick, I don't know how we're going to do that. I guess we have to selfie it with the laptop.
Just this boat tour today.
Yeah.
I thought the boat tour today.
But we will
just unplug the laptop. It's got plenty of battery. Point it at the ceiling where it used to be rotted and things.
Yeah, definitely. Rick B says, where'd you get your dinghy?
Went back to Florida and
that was like the reason to go back to the States, really.
yeah, because getting an aluminum dinghy anywhere else is really difficult.
Yeah.
So I went back to Florida. Actually, I got to flex YouTube muscles. It was kind of fun. I went to a local shop and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll get you that. It's 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something delay." And it's like, okay. That put it like a week before we planned on leaving. So I ordered this Lund. And I got the one I wanted, and it arrived. Well, when it arrived, I went in to pick it up, and we had signed an actual contract on the price. And he tried to add, like, I don't know, it's like $1,000. And it's like, you want this or not? I'll sell it to somebody else. So I actually paid the extra $1,000. Then I contacted Lund directly and asked for the marketing department. Explained that I have a YouTube channel with 50,000 subscribers, and I love the dinghy, but I didn't like my experience. Like 3 hours later, the owner of the local company was just on his knees. I think Lund says, "We need Clark. We don't need you." So he gave me my money back. Not the whole thing, just the amount that he cheated me.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about the amp counter on the BMS?
Okay, that is terrible.
Yeah.
First off, rest assured, I don't use that number for anything. The BMS uses a completely different method of figuring out whether you're fully charged. Like in the last week of software, I said, well, geez, I could just count amps in and out. My theory is no amp counter is ever accurate. Maybe Victron is, but I'm not. It's just something you can look at. And I say so in the manual. Don't trust
Don't pay attention to it.
So someone just recently contacted me and said, my Victron says a different number than this says. What's going on? I said, well, probably trust the Victron more than me, but don't trust either one of them. It's like that deal. A man with one watch knows what time it is. A man with two watches has no idea. That's kind of how these things work. So I just took a shot at it, and sorry, but I right at the last day before I burned it onto the boards, I said, do I leave it on there or do I erase it? Because I figured it gives you some information. So it's there.
Farmer Dave says, power of the tube. I think it's about your dinghy story.
Okay.
Very cool. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? What are you all up to? Are you working on boats? It's cooler now, so people are starting to head. So some people said they were heading south because it was too cold, but I imagine those people aren't. You can only go so far south before hurricane season.
Oh, you go farther south, and then
you have to go really far south. But if you're going from the East Coast south for hurricane season, I don't know when that area starts. I know you have to be below a certain area by hurricane season, but I'm sure you could go to Virginia or you could go to South Carolina or something like that.
Oh, going north.
No, I just mean what is south for people in Maine is pretty nebulous. Okay. I don't know. I'm just curious where other people are going and where they're planning to go. Let's see, Fred. Okay, Fred says, okay, so the reason to cut off is tapered amps.
It's, it's really complicated. I'm a really good developer. I would go into Boeing, and after they had already attempted a 2-year project and failed, I'd come in and just kind of like write it. And it took me a couple months to get this figured out and write. We have a patent process, patent pending, whatever, on this concept. but I'm not even worried about anybody taking it because it would be cheaper for them to just buy it from me. It uses the amps and the volts and time, and there are some three-dimensional mathematical equations that let me figure out what the electrochemistry is doing, and it does seem to work. The 100 is spot on. As they go down, I got conservative, so probably 80 is probably more like 77 or something, but they are consistent for whatever they are, and well, that's how it works.
Shifting gears to engine, Kurt wants to know, in your engine service video, did you just put on in a shutoff valve for the loop to cycle the fuel through the filter back to the tank?
Yeah, it's a shutoff valve that is shut off when the engine is running, and all it is it's a bypass from the delivery line to the return line on the engine. So when you open it up, the fuel can bypass the engine, so it can flow better. And in that little piece of line, I actually have another Rycor filter, so I can run it through its own Rycor filter, and I use that if I have dodgy fuel in the tank. So I'm filtering, but I'm also water separating and everything on a separate Rycor. But yeah, it's that simple. 2 T's in those 2 lines and a way to shut that line off. And when you open it up, it'll bypass the engine.
Are your smoke alarms going to be hardwired or AAA powered?
Well, after the boat neighbor burnt down.
We just had the one, right?
We had one, but we bought another one because Emily checked the battery, and it turned out I had taken the battery out to do something with
we
it.
didn't have the battery. Yeah.
I used to have a power supply and the carbon monoxide detector, the smoke detector actually ran off Temptress's 12-volt system, but we had done some work and out they came back in, and I just didn't hook it up again. Anyway, I just bought a new smoke detector that uses a 10-year lithium battery, so basically I'm just going to forget about it now until it starts beeping at me in 9 more years, and it's also a carbon monoxide meter, so yay.
Cool.
And it wasn't all that expensive, really.
Adolf Finger says, hello from Austria. Are you planning to do a DIY low-cost water maker in the future?
No. I actually have a little input in the Spectra water maker's Clark pump, and it was named a Clark pump Lobby for me. It's really minor, just chatting with the guys and talking about valving and stuff. And I have one of their very first units. Now, every single part of it, I think, except for the membrane pressure canister, has been replaced over the years. But I do use essentially a Spectra. And it uses very little power, and I quite like it. Building a water maker isn't rocket science. It's just basically a wash down pump hooked to the filter and a little spill off valve thing. Lots of information on it around. I don't think I would just reinvent the wheel there. So I don't claim particular experience with that DIY type water maker, and I just feel it's covered.
Cool. Here's one I can answer.
Mm-hmm.
Have you tested your new sail yet? No, we haven't. We haven't left this bay. There's things change a lot here in the DR, and to go day sailing seems
yeah.
We haven't done it yet. People do it, but there's a lot of negotiating and talking and making sure it's okay and what time you can leave, and it's just not our style of sailing.
Well,
we want to go.
You can buy a special cruising permit that lets you travel anywhere around the DR you want to. But the problem is, from here, there's almost no place to travel
it's
to.
Always just blowing like crazy.
If you read Van Sant's book, this is like one of the worst places in the Caribbean to sail. It's really tough. So you don't just go out sailing lightly from here. Also, the growth is fantastically fast. It's probably almost as fast as it was in Tampa Bay. Maybe it's worse. Davis Island didn't have Tampa Bay. These are the 2 growiest places. So in short, Temptress wouldn't even move over like 2 knots right now.
Yeah, and you have to get people who do go out frequently have somebody over scraping their bottom every weekend before they go.
Yeah,
it's that.
And you have to do that. And if you do scrape it all the time, you're going to lose your bottom paint, and then it's harder to scrape. So I just decided this is our house on the water. Sad as it is,
now, anyway.
And then we're going to go back out. And when we live the life, we live the life. And we sail. I went to Grenada once on 50 gallons of diesel fuel, and 30 of it was because I tore a sail. We are a sailboat when we're a sailboat, but right now I'm afraid to say we're a cottage on the water.
Mm-hmm. They're rolling in now. We've got 5 minutes left. Okay. Roland Rock says, hello, wondering how are your investments? how are your investments doing? My shares have crashed. Do you mainly rely on investment in?
Yeah, everybody seems to have crashed. If you just look at the S&P, that's what I'm doing because most of my stuff is pretty much
Or set it and
S&P
forget it,
bound.
people.
Yeah, I mean we're higher than we were before COVID, but it's going down. I just ride it. I rode it through the 2000 crash, and I just ride it.
Mm-hmm. Every week he's like, we made this much money this week. It's like, yay. Well, next week we made lost this much money this week. It's still sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do
overall
trading and everything, then you sold already because this was inevitable. It was going up very, very fast. It was going up for, in my opinion, an absolutely known thing. Basically, government money being given to people, and they didn't have anything to do with it, so they put it in the market, and it ran the market up. But the market's coming down now. I haven't looked into this, but I heard that the interest rates are going up a tad, which I think is a good thing. I would like to be in bonds a bit more than I am, but it's just stupid right now. But anyway, if all that quantitative easement kind of gets over, but that will really hit the stock market because the money will go into the bond market, just like mine will. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not an economics guy. I'm just a guy that went out sailing.
Have we ever considered a rain catch system or filter system for what you do catch via your tarps?
We have not had water delivered to Temptress since February.
Yeah, occasionally. Oh yeah, in Temptress. We do it on the other boat.
And we actually, all of our drinking water comes from rainwater that Temptress catches for us, and then we take it over to the other boat in bottles.
Yeah.
Because the other boat, we put good water in her tanks, but there's a taste that we don't care for.
Yeah. So we catch all kinds of water with our ginormous awning, and we filter it, and it tastes good.
Yeah.
What is the minimum equipment? This is Eddie again from Winter Park. What is the minimum equipment, for example, AC, water maker, solar, lithium batteries, etc., you would recommend for a first-time cruiser?
GPS, sails, anchor.
Yeah.
It's everything else is just a luxury, really. But I wouldn't go out with all those luxuries.
Yeah, you need a working vehicle first and foremost, probably.
Oh, you mean like as a dinghy?
No. I mean, you need your boat to be able to move effectively and to navigate before.
You could go off without an engine.
Yeah.
If your boat's small and maneuverable, anything can be done. Mm-hmm. It's just all how tough you are. I'm not that tough.
Yeah, but I mean, like the water maker, the solar. There's a lot of things that are nice for life on the boat. But it's like, what are your goals, really? That's a big thing.
I would have thought it was absolutely ridiculous to have air conditioning until I did it.
Yeah.
And then, man, it's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
I
will say that
I had water makers since the beginning. I've never cruised without a water maker, and it is so convenient. But I know lots of people that don't, and they don't take.
They ration a lot more.
We go through 10 gallons a day, I think.
Yeah, but even without our water maker, we do pretty well depending on where we go.
Yeah. But I know couples that do 1 gallon a day.
Yeah.
Well, Gil, we delivered a 100,000-pound boat back to Florida that didn't have a water maker on it. Yeah. And he got all his water, even in Bahamas, which is a very dry place. He got it all from rainwater. We did top off before we left with jerry cans, if you remember.
Yeah, but it is, I mean...
He also carries 500 gallons of water.
A lot of it boils down to how much inconvenience you can deal with and how much you want to depend on other sources for water and stuff like that.
The farther you get from the United States, the more likely you'll find a man who will bring water to your boat for a fee. And you can buy a lot of that water, even here where the water is kind of expensive, for the price of a water maker. So it's not ridiculous to not have a water maker. It's not that you can't cruise. It's just that it's one more thing you have to organize. We go out just saying, do we have enough food? And then we come back when we need to worry about that. And the people without a water maker say, okay, and in 3 weeks we have to come back and get water. Mm-hmm. So it's just one more freedom.
Yeah, maybe here's the way to phrase the question is, bought Temptress, what systems, how, in what order did you add your systems?
Oh, well, that's artificial too, because I was at a dock for 10 years working on her.
That's true.
So I did the things that made life, I mean, I knew all these would be on the list, but it would be silly to buy a water maker when I would never use it. like solar panels and water maker were the last things I did because I was plugging in all the time.
Mhm.
But good battery systems and charging systems and all that I used all the time because I'd go out for 3 days and come back. It was more of a Puget Sound way of cruising.
Okay. Let's see. Chris has a lot of information about our diet that we'll review after the video. Oh, you still playing bass? Not right now.
Nope. I've actually been thinking about it a lot. We have to be back on Temptress, of course, because the bass isn't very big, but the speakers and amplifier are.
Yeah.
Also, that boat can't make electricity.
Yeah.
Just enough to run the fridge now that the sun is really high in the sky.
We'll go back to it too. That'd be something good to do on our RV trip, maybe too.
Oh,
Bring
take the bass with us?
No, we can't bring all the accoutrements
Yeah.
and stuff. Maybe not.
We would have to carry it on the plane. And...
Yeah. Oh, so Rick wants to know, did I repair the mast on my pram? Yes, I did. Well, the mast didn't need repair. It was the mast was through the thwart on the boat, and I took it out, and it was bouncing around. And it was too windy, and it went and cracked
the mast step down here.
Yeah,
loose.
Yeah, and so that it kind of wrenched the seat, and I had to reinforce that. Yeah,
she's built it back. It looks absolutely perfect now. It has kind of a decorative ring covering all the damage, and it's stronger than it was.
Maybe I'll show you that. We'll do a quick tour. We've got, let's see, I'm just going to scan through the questions here. Good afternoon. Have we done a video on our hot water installation? No, but we're going to do a video on all of our sort of bathroom hacks, and I think we'll include that in there because we've got a lot of...
We use on-demand propane, and I have for 30 years. I really like it a lot better than tank. And anytime we want, we just hit a switch and we have hot water, and all the hot water you want until you run out of water. So.
Jeff is talking about an idea for a manually operated water maker. K1's already on it. Says they already have one of those.
Yep.
They exist. They put them in life rafts a lot.
Yeah, the bigger one is pretty good. Our friend Conrad, the guy with the aluminum sailboat as a dinghy, he bought one of those bigger Power Survivor deals. You can get a military surplus, never used. The military buys them and then they age them out and they sell them for dirt cheap. And he hooked it up to, of all things, but this worked out really well for him, I guess, a windshield wiper motor off a car. Already had all the gearing in it. And he has made one that is a self-pumping water maker. And he has now a water maker with it. It doesn't make huge amounts, but it does make water. It's electric.
Will we film our upcoming road trip around the U.S.? That would be a good one to see. Yes. I think we definitely will.
Yeah, we'll film the trip. And we've gotten so much feedback from you guys out there.
Where to go.
Yeah, and I've got this land up in the mountains and it's beautiful. You can come park there. It's like, oh, great. I really don't want to be like this in a campground. I want to live like this where we're a little more open. So that's going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to just trick out the camper and pack up the camper. It's just a different mentality. Here, where it's like the boat is like a spaceship. Like before we leave, we want all the stuff that we could possibly want on the boat before we leave. And there, if we're driving around and all the fuel, we're going to be living off the land, as your mom calls it. And,
well, I think you're underestimating how much that truck can carry.
It can, but I don't want to carry a whole lot more weight if we don't need to.
Sure.
Why carry it off? But anyway, it'll be a different kind of adventure, so we will definitely do that. All right. Well, it's almost 3 o'clock here, so I guess we could do a little tour around the boat.
Okay. Are there any more questions? So
that's pretty much it. I think I've got most of them.
Okay.
Yep. Well, what brand is a hot water propane heater? I think it's called an EcoTemp. It's in our Amazon store.
Yeah.
Check out
is it in the Amazon store?
Yeah.
Go to the Amazon store and you'll find it there. We got a lot of categories and it should be easy to find and it's dirt cheap. Don't be afraid that it's dirt cheap. It works fine. I didn't use one for about 2 or 3 years in Florida with the humidity and not being used. Things like to be used. And it had failed. So we just bought another one and had it mailed to us and installed it. But they last pretty good. The very first one I had was a Paloma. It came with the boat 30 years ago, and that lasted right up until I bought the first EcoTemp. It was probably better made, but I like the EcoTemp better because it's auto starting with a battery instead of having to light a pilot light manually.
And what is the last one? What draft depth boat would you recommend for the Caribbean?
Well, for the Caribbean, not the Bahamas. It doesn't really matter. There was one place I got to get into. I'm 10.5 feet with my board down and 5.5 feet with the board up. And I remember going one place, and I'm anchored behind this island, and a friend that we had met long ago was like really nervous about the anchorage. We had met on land at a restaurant. We just ran into each other. And she's, aren't you nervous about that a restaurant or anchorage? I go, no, it looks fine to me. And she's really finally, I said, where are you anchored after all? And she points out into the surf. But she was 8 feet deep, so she couldn't get in behind the island, and we were behind the island, which is safe as houses. Yeah. But that's an exception. Usually the Caribbean's pretty darn deep. It's just the Bahamas and Florida that's shallow. Yeah. So it shouldn't be a big deal. Pacific, the problem is the opposite. Finding something shallow enough to put your anchor down on. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to do the Bahamas, 6 feet is probably about as deep as I would be personally comfortable with.
It seems like 5 and 6 is good, but people start wincing a little bit if they're the Bahamas. Like, oh yeah, we're 6.5 feet, just barely.
And if you have a 4-foot catamaran, you can just go places that we can't even think of. So
like the Abacos are really nice in the Bahamas, and there's a lot of really shallow places to explore there. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's show you the boat. So, disclaimer: this boat is very messy. We're not living on this boat, and we're working on this boat right now. So maybe this is kind of cool because I don't think Vagabond and these other channels would show you their imperfect.
Everything's perfect all the time.
Yeah, this is it's dirty, but there's some exciting stuff. So I'll show, by showing you the ceiling.
All the cupboard doors are off, and we haven't even. It's all sanding dust everywhere. So
there's a lot of dust everywhere. Yeah. Don't judge us. We tell it like it is. So first thing is the ceiling. Do you see how white the ceiling is? Ooh.
They're looking right into a light.
I know, but
show that one over there.
So there used to be a big. Let's see if I can do this. Used to be a big rotten spot here. This is like mirror image. I'm gonna make you all seasick. There used to be a big rotten spot here, and we've filled that in with a new cover or a new plate, I guess you would say.
Yeah, there's an extra 1/4 inch of plywood up there.
And there used to be a big smoky patch there, but that's all gone. Let's see.
Up there.
I have to kind of selfie this. So here's our. There's the. This is really weird too because it's mirror image, so I'm trying to see myself. Okay, so here's the kitchen. We just did the fridge today. I guess I could open up the fridge and show you. We had a problem with the fridge back here. There was a lot of rot here because we had a leak that comes in here that we finally fixed. So all this rot is going away. Clark's fixed the fridge. And you want to open it up? So it's all clean inside, and we repainted the doors, and it's frosty.
Just turned it on.
And it seems to be working. We use that bilge paint here to cover up the old nasty paint inside the fridge, so it should be nice and clean.
We came back from the restaurant for lunch, and Emily was like, what can we do with these? How about that?
And you can kind of, this is kind of hard with the all the light coming in, but you can kind of see how shiny all the teak is. Maybe this is a better wall. Lots of teak. I'm measuring to put up some pictures right now, but everything is very shiny, new. Here's our
dusty
nav station, which is all dusty and just our couch.
We reupholstered the chair.
Yeah, there's my paint department there, and all our canned beef. It's very nice. And then here's the saloon, where we're still acquiring space and putting stuff together. All of our rolly pits with all of our stuff. I'm not even going to show you the forward cabin because it's ridiculous right now. Here's the bathroom. And it's much cleaner than it was before. We had a lot of mold and mildew in there. We're still putting it back together. We still got to put the doors on. But this is the other place where we used the that Total Bilge paint from Total Boat. I'm really happy. I don't know how well you can see, but it's very shiny. It's almost like a tile, the wall. So I think it's going to be a lot easier to clean up and keep it clean. And the aft cabin also is kind of off limits because it's just a pile of junk right now. But that's a quick tour of our boat. Hope you didn't get too seasick. I kind of throw you around.
Hi, Herbert.
Is that
Did you manage to find us?
A Speedy in the saloon? I don't know what a Speedy is.
Is what? Is that a Speedy in the saloon? I don't know what a Speedy is either.
A Sparry? How about a Sparry?
Okay.
How about a Speedy?
Could that be the mast?
Oh, you're talking about the... I don't know. What are you talking about? You're talking about the mast? There's a mast there. That's the mast. For sure. I don't know. That's it. Cool. So that's the state of the boat. We still have a lot of work to do. A lot of things to finish up. A while back we were working on base. Okay. So yeah, we already answered that one.
Okay.
Somebody wants you to invest in Bitcoin and telling us all the things that we should eat. So we'll be sure to do that. Give all your detailed refrigerator and refrigerator spec details. That might be a good video to do.
Well, we did that. I did a 3-part on refrigerator. I think I dealt pretty deep.
We didn't actually. I guess we kind of looked at the fridge. Anyway, there will be a much more involved boat tour with everything looking all shiny and new. So, okay. Hey, Ed from Central Florida just says hi. Thank you guys for tuning in, and greetings from Serbia also. Lots of people tuning in now. I think we're going to sign off for the day. We'll do some more of these now that we have found an easier way to do them. I think that'll be great. And yeah, bye everybody, and thank you so much. And yeah, we'll talk to you next time. Let me see if I can figure out how to end this thing. Bye.